I almost killed myself, and I don't mean through depression and feeling sorry for myself and ending my life, but what I mean is I was in such a state with my anxiety. I was suffering from panic attacks. I was actually probably depressed, and I just hadn't realized it. I was drinking so much alcohol. I was in pain. My back was aching. My posture was terrible. I could not communicate with other people. And I was on a downward spiral. I was very fortunate that I found out what was going on with me was panic attacks, not from visiting a doctor, but from the one thing that I still to this day swear has saved my life and given me a course of direction and goal, and that was voice work. And at the age of, I believe around 30, I'm 44 now, it's 29, 30, I had such bad panic attacks that I thought I was going to die at one point. But as it turns out, some people that I know from back in the day who lived the same kind of lifestyle that I was leading, being in bands, being up late, like staying up all night, drinking lots of alcohol, doing other kind of things, which were terribly unhealthy, especially over a period of time, because you're not getting enough sleep. If you're not getting enough sleep, you're slowly deteriorating anyway. So the mind was dying, the body was being abused. You know, the liver, kidneys, all these things can suffer. And friends of mine, like I said, that were around with me at the time have passed away now. And it really does make you pause for thought and wonder how you can ever get into that situation, because no one wants to kill themselves unwillingly. No one realizes they're doing it when you're in that situation. Why this is important and why voice work has been so important is because I hadn't realized that the insidious effects of anxiety, which can lead to habitual kind of pastimes like drinking, which can make you feel better about it, then makes you feel worse afterwards with a hangover and makes you even more anxious and can feed back into the drinking. And so you're on this cycle. And so the smallest negative habit and the way that we want to deal with that can actually make the habit worse. And what happened to me was I got into spiral, and over years I stressed myself out by working in a job I didn't want to do. I was singing in bands and I was drinking too much alcohol, working in bars. And it got to the point where I was so distraught that I had to go to the doctor and ask for something to keep me calm, because I was just so panicky all the time. Until someone took me to an acting class. And at that acting class, the first thing we did was breathing work, breath work from a voice coach. Well, I come out of that acting class feeling amazing, and I've told this story before on this channel, but from there I ended up going and taking speech and articulation lessons, because my communication skills are completely fallen apart, where I'd pulled myself away from the world. But I got better, and I started to learn how to reconnect with people and find my confidence in speaking. I then started doing some acting roles and got better at that, realised that I wanted to change my career, so I went towards acting and eventually got into an amazing acting school in London, did that, met my wife, started this channel, started coaching as well as performing and acting professionally, and today I'm just the luckiest man in the world, because I've got a very happy, healthy family. I live in a very exciting country, Finland, and I've got a good business which is meaningful, and in which I'm able to share what I've learned to help other people, aka you. And so this story is relevant today as it ever was, because people talk to me on this channel, people leave comments, people contact me directly, and a lot of you are asking, why is it happening to you? Why have you not got the voice that you want? Why do you feel bad? Why do people laugh at you? Why do people say or get you to repeat yourself? And a lot of it is because you might not know that there could be some negative habits that you've adopted, and rather than beating yourself up about it or feeling bad, you can just recognize that there are positive steps you can take. And once, in exactly the same way to the negative habits, once you start changing them for positive habits, you can start working towards another way of being that you might not think you already had. And to get you started on that journey, no matter where you are, if you feel that something's not right and you want to make a change, because at this time of year, everyone's making New Year's resolutions, right? But they often fall apart after a few weeks. Like, you might join the gym, you want to get a buff, you want to get a six-pack. But the trouble is with a lot of these like resolutions is that they're quite superficial. And what's really missing is we're not taking care of our needs. And our needs are the fundamentals. They're things that we have to have in our lives to flourish and to live our fullest. And if you can't meet those needs, then your wants and desires are shallow, and that you'll never reach them because you won't have of given your body and your brain, your mind, the things they actually require as a human being. Once you have those things, you'll be able to get anything you want, but you'll also probably realize that those things won't be a Lamborghini or a six-pack or live in the Hollywood Hills. They might be something completely different. But this is improve your voice. And so what I'm going to do is give you the opportunity to think about looking after yourself in this new year. See if you can meet your needs. Now, what are your needs? You've got to be well hydrated. You've got to be well rested. Get a decent amount of sleep every night. You need to have enough sleep that takes you into the part of the day that you've had enough REM sleep, so your brain, your creativity can function the way it should. So that means around 8 hours of sleep. The science is out there now. There's a great book called Why We Sleep, which goes into incredible detail about the importance of sleep and its rejuvenating effects on our mood and our bodies, and, as I will take from it, our voice. So make sure you're eating properly and getting enough nutrients. Make sure you're well hydrated all the time. Make sure that daily, consistently, you get enough sleep. Also, then, we want to think about your employment situation, your finances. It's not very nice to be in debt. So if you can get yourself out of debt, if you can just aim towards having a job that gives you some kind of security, a roof over your head, and then there's friendship and camaraderie and community. You need to have people around you. If you're alone or isolated or feel bad about yourself or being around others, try and take a step into a community that will accept you or that you feel part of. Whether that could be here, maybe it is. Maybe there's people on this channel that are looking for community as well. But whatever it is, you need to have people in your life that you can connect with and communicate with. It's so important, and it's a need. It's a vital human need. We all need encouragement. We all need community, and we need love. So find those things if you don't have them now. If you do, great, nourish them. Then also you need to find means of self-expression. There's plenty of places on this channel that you can find work to help you with that. And you need self-respect and self-esteem. So look after yourself. Pay attention to these needs and pay attention to your values, and then your goals will become clear. So take stock of what your values are. I want you to write down a list of all the things that you find important or you think are essential to your life. This is beyond your needs. Your needs you have to take care of first. Then you look at your values. What is important? Write them all down on a piece of paper and try to circle and groups or things that kind of fall into the same category. And then it's recognizing those different categories and pinpoint 3 terms or 3 values that are important to you. Write them on the wall, stick them up, or stick them on a paper and stick that on the wall. And then you want to start looking at ways in which you can be to fulfill and stay on top of those values and to live the life of someone with those values. Because it's all very well knowing them, but how do you kind of follow them and how do you maintain them? Well, keeping them in sight is going to help you remember. But then if you write down characteristics of people that you would like to be like, or characteristics that you feel would make you the most fullest person you could be, you will think of things like caring or considerate or determined. These are words that describe attitudes and characteristics of people. But you pick characteristics about the world, or attitudes you think are great and grand and the best you would like to kind of be associated with. Write them all down, and again, if you can put them into categories and narrow them down to 3 or 4, then you will have a really good base and a foundation for how you might want to tackle the day, how you might want to take on certain people or situations or scenarios. So you will have your values in place, you will choose your attitude, and then, only then, you can start picking your goals and dreams, and you will stick to them and you will maintain them and you will get them. You will have what you want. And if that is to improve your voice, and if that is to change your life and take yourself from someone who's negative and in bad habits to someone who is actually flourishing and changing the world, these are some steps you can take to do that. It's a new year. I don't want to just ask you to make new goals. You can really make a change. Fulfill your needs. Pinpoint your values. Choose your attitudes and characterize them. Then set your goals and work towards them. Happy New Year. 2022 is yours. I'll see you there.
I have so many tales to tell, and up till now I've been telling them